All right, Rebecca. So my name's Miss Crook. I'm the intern at the school. I know you worked with one last year. So it's going to be about the same idea. You were referred to me from the assistant principal because you missed a lot of school. So does that make sense as to why you would be meeting with me?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so just sort of a new person at the school for you to get to know, somebody to talk to if you need to. Your mom had also agreed that you might benefit from meeting with me. So tell me a little bit about yourself. We're just going to talk right off the bat about your attendance. So last year you missed 50 days of school. And that was, how did that, what do you think about that?
I mean, my mom doesn't really seem to care that I miss school. I mean, usually most mornings I just wake up and I'm just not feeling it. I struggle a little bit with anxiety, so sometimes that has a part to do with it. But for the most part, I just don't feel like going, and my mom's not really pushing me out the door. So
All right. Do you have brothers and sisters? Do they go to school?
I have a sister.
Yeah. Does she go to school or she's the same sort of.
I'd say, I mean, I think I miss more school than her, but I mean, same thing. Like, she doesn't go as much as she probably should, and my mom doesn't really do much about it. So
Right. So let's see. You mentioned being anxious. Are you anxious about the school setting? Are you anxious about homework? Do you have any idea like what makes you anxious about school?
I mean, I don't have too many friends. I kind of get anxious just in like social settings. I think just around other kids, I just worry about everything. And then, I mean, I don't really keep up with my schoolwork, so I just get nervous if I like didn't do my work the night before, and then I have to go to school the next day. Like, I don't feel like it, and then I wake up just worrying about like what's gonna happen now that I didn't do my work. So, I don't know. I
So do you ever have sort of stretches where you go to school for a long time? Do you think your anxiety's a little bit better when that happens or
I'd say so.
yeah. So what do you think? So my role is to kind of talk about whatever you think we should talk about. So obviously you referred to me about attendance. If you don't want to go to school, I can't make you, but I do want you to know that unfortunately there could be legal actions. I know that the assistant principal talked to you about this. Did that make sense to you when he talked to you about it, or what do you think about
Kind of.
it?
I mean,
Yeah,
I get it. If I don't go to school, like I'm sure something's gonna happen, but
right. But I
hasn't
mean,
happened yet.
right, you missed a lot last year
Mm.
too. So, yeah, we certainly don't want to go down that road, but I understand you don't want to go to school. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think something you and I could work on is? Do you think that I could do anything here at the school to make it more enjoyable for you to be here, or could I help you out with anything?
I think some days when I am at school, I do feel anxious. So sometimes when I feel really anxious, I just want to run out the door. So maybe just talking to someone instead would be helpful.
We could definitely talk about some anxiety. Do you have anxiety in certain classes, or is it just all together? Are there any?
Sometimes math class, I struggle with math. So just being in that classroom and not understanding what's going on, I just get really anxious. And same thing, I just want to leave the classroom. So definitely math class. Other classes are all right, but
All right. So, this anxiety, do you just feel it in school, or do you feel like you get anxious at home too?
I'd say both. I mean, I'm usually home by myself most of the time. So sometimes when I'm home by myself, I just worry. Just being home alone, that makes me anxious. So
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's tough at your age. So, I mean, say I could just fix your anxiety. What's a day at school gonna look like? If you come to school and have no anxiety, are you gonna wanna say just I could snap my fingers and it disappeared? Would you come to school? Is anxiety your major barrier, or what are you thinking?
it's part of it, yeah. So I think maybe if that was, if you could help me in that aspect, I probably would come to school a little more because, the days where I do wake up and I already feel anxious, I just don't come to school.
Do
So,
you see any benefit to coming to school? Do you think that there's anything you can get out of it?
well, I am really close with the woman in the office,
Mm-hmm.
the school secretary, and I really look up to her. And I think if I were to choose a career path to go down, it would probably be exactly what she's doing. So I know I do have to stay in school to do what she's doing. So um, I guess that would be like my motivator.
Right. So do you think you would have any interest in college?
I mean, if I have to go to college to do what she does, then I guess I can try.
Right. So I think you actually might enjoy it because you can pick which classes you want to go to. You don't have to go to
No
everyone.
math classes.
Well, you got to take a couple of math classes, but not all of them. It doesn't have to be just math. But so you mentioned not feeling like you have a lot of friends here. Is that something you want to work on, or is that something you're just kind of
I don't
okay
really like
with?
people, so,
No.
less friends the better. But I mean, like I said, I don't really like being by myself. Being at home by myself makes me anxious, and sometimes being in a classroom with no friends. So I don't know. I can try.
Right. So what do you do when you're home? Do you just don't hang out with any friends, or do you hang out with your sister, or what do you like to do for fun?
I'm pretty close with my sister, so sometimes we'll hang out, but for the most part, when I'm by myself in the house, I just leave. There's a tree house that I go to sometimes. I just like being there. Like I know I am by myself for the most part there, but it's just an escape from my house, and I just really like it over there.
So do your parents know where you're going when you go to this tree house, or are they just not home and have no idea?
They have no idea.
Do you see that might be something that could be unsafe, or
I mean, if something were to happen and they had no idea where I was, I guess, but I don't
yeah,
think they really care because they're never home.
right? So why are they never home? Do you think, do you really think they don't care about you, or?
Well, they just work all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I never get to see them. I get it, like we have to pay our bills, but they
Right.
just are never home. I never see them.
So if your parents are never home, is there any sort of motivation to you staying home from school for the day? I mean, if you're just, would you be home alone, or is somebody home with you?
Home alone, unless my sister's home too, but
Mm-hmm. I mean, so maybe coming to school and getting to make some new friends would help you make, some connections. You're not going to be home alone all day. Might make a couple of people to hang out with, go hang out in your tree house with.
I think that could work, yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to meet every week. And in meeting every week, we're going to set some goals. You mentioned anxiety. So I'm going to meet with you up until about April. So let's set a pretty big goal about what we can work on. I am going to keep talking to you about your attendance because even though you don't want to hear it, I do need to try to help you understand that it's important for you to come to school. But as far as a goal that you would like to set with me, what are you thinking?
I'd say just with my anxiety, if you could help me out with that,
So,
decreasing it.
decreasing it as far as like coping skills, or do you know any at this point? Or,
Usually when I go to the tree house, I listen to music and just kind of hang out. I might read a magazine or just have some alone time. I like to draw too, so.
mm-hmm. Okay, well, those are some good ones. But yeah, so I'm gonna run a group at the school for a couple of girls around your age, and we're gonna talk about anxiety. So do you think that might be something you would be interested in?
I guess maybe. I've never been to one before, so I don't.
I mean,
I'm not sure.
might just be worth a shot. It'll be, girls your age that also say that they have anxiety. So maybe you could even make a couple of friends out of that. What do you think?
I'll give it a go.
All right. So I'm here Mondays and Wednesdays. So let's plan to meet next Monday.
Okay.
I know that this time is your gym class, so I don't want you to keep missing gym, but it's probably the easiest class for me to pull you out of. So is this time okay next
Yeah.
week too? All right. Well, are you okay meeting with me? What do you think about this?
I think it'll be helpful.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you next week.
Looking forward to it too.